this Careers Wales webinar. I think I got Bronwyn and Julia on are online. I don't know whether you can indicate if you can hear me okay, Bronwyn and Julia, if you can through the chat box. Okay, it's nearly 7 o'clock. We'll start the seminar then. Webinar, sorry. Oh yes, all good, great. Okay, Bronwyn, I hope you can hear me as well. Okay. All right. Nothing back in Bronwyn at the moment. Okay, we'll start the webinar in a second then. Oh, perhaps she's away from her phone. I think she's logged on her phone at the moment, and she's away from there. Okay then, welcome to this this Careers Wales webinar. And as we can see from the screen there, this is about this evening we're going to be talking about alternatives to higher education and what are my options now. So I begin to look at what the aims are of the session. The aims are to gain knowledge of the options available after A levels. So this is specifically for young people who've just done their A levels and they're thinking about what to do next. So hopefully then there's going to be some learning outcomes at the end of this session, and hopefully we'll be able to find out and list which options are available to you after your A levels, and then make an informed decision based on your next steps, and to source further information on the options and to know where you can access other support from as well. So there's those are the learning outcomes. So hopefully that'll all become apparent when we go through the webinar this evening. Okay, so how will we be working together this evening? This is what we call a listen webinar, which means my video and audio is enabled, however yours isn't. That doesn't mean you can't communicate with me. If you'd like to ask questions, if you'd like to stop me, if you don't understand what I'm saying, anything like that, by all means, please use the chat box. The chat comes up pretty quick. I can stop and answer a question as we're going along. That's not a problem at all. Don't save up any questions until the end. If you're not sure of something as we're talking about it, by all means ask. And it says on there you may need a pen and paper. This session will be shared hopefully on YouTube later on the Careers Wales channel on YouTube, so there won't be a problem in watching it again. However, you may need a pen and paper if you'd like to write anything down. Okay. So we're thinking about post A levels and what our options are. So we can see here now we've got them around the screen in no particular order of preference, of importance. We can see at the top there is higher education. This session's not really about higher education. If you were thinking of higher education, then you'd have applied quite a while ago. You'll have gone through that process with school or college, spoken to careers advisors about that, etc. But we can see the other options that are dotted around there. We've got a job. We have apprenticeship, Jobs Growth Wales. Some of these phrases you might not be familiar with. Further education, and then we've got one there then that says time out. Okay, so first things first, A-level results are coming up now. You're going to get your A-level results, and the first thing is don't panic. Whatever option you've decided on, panicking is not a good thing. There are plenty of things that can be done. There are people you can speak to. There are things we can do. So that's the first thing, is don't panic. Let's think about these options that we've got up in front of us. So as we can see there, we've got higher education on the top. I said this is not primarily about higher education this evening. However, it is an option for people. It might be one you've got on the back burner. It might be one you're thinking of. It may be your main option. You may have had a change of heart since applying and decided you'd like to know about what your other options are. If we were to go on to the higher education sort of circle here at the moment and give it a click, it'll take us through to the UCAS website. And I'll just share that on the screen with everyone. Okay. So here's the UCAS website. For those of you who've applied to higher education, it'll be very familiar to yourselves. Okay, what we've got, there we are. What we've got there is we've got at the top we've got adding a clearing choice. So straight away we're looking at clearing at the moment, and obviously if you've applied, you may well want to find out about clearing. There's lots and lots of information on the UCAS website. There's some great videos on there which explain to you, if you do need to go through clearing. We've spoken about not panicking, how to sit back, think about our decisions, and there's lots and lots of really good information on the UCAS website. So that'll be our first port of call for those young people who are looking at higher education opportunities. So that's the first one. But as I said, this isn't really about higher education this evening. As you can see, we've got other options around the circle here, and we'll go through them one by one. By all means, if you've got a question, as I said, stop, ask me, and I'll try and answer them as I go along. So the first option that we're going to look at is the option of going into work or getting a job. Okay. So how do we get jobs then? Yeah, we've got the internet nowadays. Obviously, we're talking on the internet here. A lot of young people are very conversant with the internet. And there are lots and lots of websites, such as some of the ones that we've got highlighted there. There's Indeed, there's Universal Job Match, which is actually the Job Centre's own website. There's Reed, which is another company which advertises lots of jobs online. And then we've got Monster, and we can go along with lots and lots of other websites. The list is endless. So if we'd have a quick look at perhaps Indeed, this is one of the websites that we can think about for searching for jobs. We can see here that very straightforward, what you want to do, where you want to do it. So straight away, if you're looking at going into work and you'd like to find out about a job, then we can see here if we put into the search engine something like perhaps sales. Okay, so I'll enter sales in there, and I'll leave it at Aberdare, which is where I'm based this evening, and have a little look at jobs, and you can see straight away it comes up with lots and lots of jobs. There are 33 new jobs on there, and it says here this is 1 to 10 of 2,828 jobs. So there are lots and lots of jobs available online. They might not all be suitable, but go on there, have a look through the website, and these jobs are open to all. So people, young people will be applying for these jobs. Older people will be applying for these jobs as well. So this is very much an open forum for applying for jobs. We can see here we've got a team member in Greggs. We've got Dixon's Carphone, some very well-known retail outlets. A sales advisor with EE, obviously the large telephone company. So lots and lots of vacancies that are available on websites such as Indeed. And that may be your first port of call if you are looking at getting a job. Okay. There are other more traditional ways of finding work as well. Asking friends and relatives. I think I can remember a statistic being cited to me a while ago saying that something like 70% of jobs weren't advertised, and lots of people get into jobs through word of mouth. I don't know whether that's as true now with the internet. However, friends and relatives can be a really great source of getting into work and finding out where the opportunities are. We can send speculative letters to employers. We might think, oh, I'd like to work for this employer. I'd really, really like to get a job with them. We just send a speculative letter to them saying, hi, here I am. These are the skills I've got. I'd really, really like to work for you. And if you've got a position becoming available shortly, please get back to me. That's a speculative letter. You can phone companies, and then at the bottom then there's a real traditional way, knock on the door, especially if you're looking for more local jobs, perhaps part-time, perhaps jobs in retail. Then managers of companies, shops, etc., really do appreciate the knock on the door approach. And I'd say you could even do that with other larger employers as well. So there's that knock on the door approach. So that's jobs. Hopefully that covers, jobs. There's obviously a lot more to it about applying than that, and we can look at where we can get far more help in applying later on. Okay. So we looked at jobs. The next thing then is an apprenticeship. So let's find out what's different about an apprenticeship to a job. Okay. So if we were to look for apprenticeships in Wales, the first place we would really look is on the Careers Wales website. So what I've done here is I've opened the Careers Wales website on, as you can see there, perhaps on your career page, and this takes us into lots and lots of information about apprenticeships. So what is an apprenticeship? An apprenticeship is employment with training. So an apprenticeship may be working for a company 4 or 5 days a week, or 4 days a week out of 5, and on the 5th day that may be then attending college or a local training provider to then gain the other skills you'd need to work built around that job, or what we call the framework of that apprenticeship. It could be that you'd actually go there to the work for a few weeks and then take a week off and go to college or a training provider. But that's an apprenticeship. It's basically work with some training as well. So if we have a quick look on here, what we'll see is on the Careers Wales website, we've got this tab at the top that's called Tools and Resources. If we look on there, we'll see that there are vacancies available. And within the vacancies, what we'll see is there are apprenticeships, there's Jobs Growth Wales we were talking about earlier, some other vacancies as well. And what we can do on here is we can actually use this as a search engine to look for specific jobs in specific locations within specific sectors. Or we can look at all vacancies. When we click on all vacancies, it'll open up all of the jobs that are available there. And we can see that currently on the Careers Wales website, there are 287 apprenticeships. And these are across a variety of sectors. Hopefully, just looking at the front page here, we can see that we've got roles as apprentice hairdressers, within IT support and networking, a creative apprentice within the performing arts. There's one there, automotive engineering apprentice, business admin, payroll, which again is within administration, more business administration, and apprentice electrical engineer, and a support developer for computers and IT. So hopefully we can see that apprenticeships are available in lots and lots of different career ideas. So it doesn't really matter what your career idea is. This may well be an alternative to going back into learning, which would be to get a job, an apprenticeship, which has training linked to it with a training provider. So and all of those jobs are available through the Careers Wales website. If we would have a quick look here, we could take an example of, let's have a look, of the apprenticeship in IT support and networking. We can see which employer it's with. This one's in North Wales, in Bretton. It's through Coleg Cambria. And it talks about the pay here. And we can see that the pay starts at £3.50 per hour. When we spoke about jobs a little earlier, jobs are actually come under the national minimum wage. I've actually written them down this evening so I won't forget. But if you're looking at over 18s, which you would be leaving your A levels, then the minimum wage starts at £5.60 per hour. Now, you can see here that this apprenticeship minimum wage is actually £3.50 an hour, which is something somewhat below the national minimum wage. However, these are normally reviewed and are starting wages, and also they actually show that the young person who would be applying for this role is perhaps not the finished article yet and is undertaking learning through that apprenticeship scheme. So the apprenticeship wage is £3.50 per hour, opposed to the 18 to 20 minimum wage of £5.60 per hour. We can see we've got a closing date on here, and if we were to click onto the vacancy, it would take us into the vacancy, tell us all about the vacancy, what the job entails, what kind of training is provided. And again, you can see here the successful applicant would complete an IT user, an IT professional framework with Coleg Cambria, and it would be on the BTEC level 2 diploma through Pearson. And again, they're looking for excellent written and spoken English, the ability to apply logic to problem solving, and highly self-motivated people to do this job. So there's lots and lots of information on there explaining what kind of young people they'd like to go in to this apprenticeship. So that's an apprenticeship. Julia, does that cover apprenticeships for you? Are there any other questions you think you've got on apprenticeships? If I close that page and we go back and have a look at the apprenticeship page, we'll see that they're offered by local and national companies. The opportunities will achieve level 2 and level 3 qualifications. There's normally a minimum educational qualification to get onto an apprenticeship. depending on whether it's level 2, where they're looking for sometimes 3 GCSEs, or level 3 apprenticeship, where they're looking for 5 GCSEs. And it's not much information on this page. However, there are higher apprenticeships as well for young people who've done their A-levels. And you'd find those on the Careers Wales website as well. And it does talk about the minimum apprenticeship wage being £3.50 per hour at the moment. Oh, you're losing reception there a little. Sorry about that. I just hope you're getting all the information you need. And as I've said, you'll be able to pick it up on YouTube afterwards if you don't. Okay, so that was careerswales.com, where we would find the apprenticeships. If we look at the next opportunity or next option we've got for post-18 for young people who've done their A-levels, then we've got this opportunity here called Jobs Growth Wales. Okay, so we saw Jobs Growth Wales opportunities were advertised on the Careers Wales website. Somewhat different to apprenticeships. They are available for young people aged between 16 and 24. They guaranteed the national minimum wage, and they guaranteed at least 25 hours of work a week. So the Jobs Growth Wales opportunity is funded through the Welsh Government and European Social Fund, and it's a 6-month opportunity in a job paid at least at the national minimum wage. So as I've said a little earlier there was the national minimum wage. Some companies will actually pay more than the minimum wage, depending obviously upon the company. It says it will help if you're job ready and you're just in need of a chance to gain the work experience you may be lacking. So sometimes young people find it difficult to get into work because they don't have the work experience they need to apply for these roles. Hence, the Welsh Government, through the European Social Funding as well, has put on this programme which allows young people to apply for these vacancies aged between 16 and 24. So you're only competing in the marketplace of those young people. So it is a far sort of fairer marketplace where you can actually your competition is a bit flatter, and you're not competing against people who've got lots and lots more experience, so it'll allow you to get more experience. As long as you've left compulsory education, you can apply for a Jobs Growth Wales vacancy. You must live in Wales, and you must not be in full-time education or working more than 16 hours per week. So if you do have a small part-time job, then you can still apply for these Jobs Growth Wales vacancies. And again, these exist across a wide variety of job sectors. When we looked at the apprenticeships a little earlier, we saw that apprenticeships are available across lots and lots of different jobs. And when we have a quick look at the Jobs Growth Wales vacancies, we'll see that that's exactly the same. So if I click on the link here, and then I can share this page with you. Okay. We're back on the Careers Wales website. We're back onto the search vacancies site. And as I said, we've got apprenticeships there. We've got Jobs Growth Wales and other vacancies. So if we go back down to the bottom, we'll have a quick look at all of the vacancies that are available currently. So these are the apprenticeships. And the next tab across the Jobs Growth Wales vacancies. And similar sorts of numbers here, 287 apprenticeships available, and we can see there are 236 Jobs Growth Wales vacancies available across Wales at the moment. So we've got the top 10 results here, or the latest 10 results on here, and we can see that there are lots and lots of different types of things. There's a clinic administrator, again within admin, business and admin. There's a trainee waitress, beauty therapist, and then next one down, they're looking for a graduate in health and safety. Then we've got a property assistant working in the healthcare sector, a trainee computer repair technician, general deliveries assistant, and personal insurance advisor there. So as you can see, there is again a vast sort of range of different jobs across the Jobs Growth Wales vacancies. Each one of these vacancies is attached to an employer. And again, as we saw with the apprenticeship, attached to a learning provider as well. And the learning provider will be there to help the employer and to help the young person who's applied for the vacancy, and they are sort of an intermediary through the Welsh Government. So we can see there are different learning providers here that work with different employers. If we were to look at an example here at the clinic administrator, the top vacancy, we can see the learning provider here is Educate Limited. The job is available in Newport. They're currently paying the national minimum wage, and the closing date would be on the 10th of September. So still plenty of time to apply for that. And if we click on the vacancy, again, it'll tell us a lot more about that vacancy. So we can see here it's Jobs Growth Wales. You can see who the employer is. Again, it's 37.5 hours per week. The closing date, and it says age range, and for some reason they've actually said here the applicants must be between 18 and 24. It must be because of the type of role that it is. That's why they'd like to take someone 18 and not 16 for this. Okay, so we're looking at this, and it's got lots and lots of information about what they'd like the young person to do. There are skills here like word processing, dealing with telephone and email inquiries, for some examples, printing and filing documents, scheduling and booking meetings, creating meetings agendas. This sounds like a job for somebody who's very organized. Organizing travel for patients, booking taxis, ordering, maintaining stationary equipment, handling patient records in strict confidence. So this looks like a job which is obviously administration, but very much leaning towards the health sector as well. And the training provider, it says on here, will be provided, or the training will be provided with the employer, and you'll be working with colleagues on a day-to-day basis where you will then gain the skills you need to do this job. The role can be stressful at times due to time pressures. So for someone who likes to work in quite a busy, bustling environment, this sounds like a very good role. And again, it talks about the preferred learning provider, and it tells us what types of personal qualities we'd like to see from young people who want to move into this vacancy. Strong organizational skills. We thought that, I think, from looking at the type of job it is, the ability to plan your own work, to work for your own initiative and meet deadlines, the ability to manage demands, high respect for confidentiality as it is within the medical sector, plenty of teamwork by the look of it, because you're going to be working as part of a team, to be reliable and honest. And it does say that due to the work being in contact with children and vulnerable adults, they would be looking for a DBS clearance as well. So there's lots and lots of information on there about the job. And if you'd like to apply for this job, then you would need to actually create a profile, if you don't already have one, on the Careers Wales website, careerswales.com, and you'd then apply for the vacancy via that profile, and it actually takes us through to the login here, and there's lots and lots of information to help you complete your profile. However, if you were looking at applying for roles like this, you could go into your local career centre, and then you could get someone to help you with that as well. So that is the Jobs Growth Wales vacancies. Let me close that tab. Okay, so just recapping on the information for Jobs Growth Wales. It's a 6-month role for young people aged 16 to 24. If they're job ready but don't have experience, left a compulsory education, working less than 16 hours a week. It's across a lot of sectors, and it can be applied for off the Careers Wales website. Okay, so moving on then, if we look at Jobs Growth Wales there, the next one we've got is further education. I also did a little bit of study earlier myself, and looked at the destinations of young people last year who actually left the sixth form. It was quite interesting that 80% of those young people went back into education, and of the 80% of the young people who went back into education, actually 12% went on to further education. So some young people will have stayed in school for the sixth form and then gone on to further education in a college. They may have also done sixth form in a college and then gone on and done a further year's study in a college, perhaps on a different course, to gain further education, to enhance the education that they've already had and enhance their qualifications. So it's quite a lot of young people who've moved into that area. And if we were to look at further education, okay, computer slow down a little. What we'll find here is there are lots and lots of colleges across Wales. So if you've got to the end of the sixth form, perhaps done some A-levels and thought, do you know what, I'd like to do some more education, I'd like to do some more learning so I can enhance the skills and the qualifications I've already got. There are lots of colleges across Wales. These these itemize the colleges here. So this is on the collegeswales.ac.uk website. It's not indicative of where all the colleges actually are. This is their headquarters. So we can see in the north we've got Cambria and Llandrillo Menai, and down the south we have from the west Pembrokeshire, Coleg Cigar in Carmarthen, through Neath Port Talbot, and then into the middle of Wales there where we find Coleg y Cymoedd, St David's, Coleg Gwent, and there's lots of other colleges there, Bridgend College in Cardiff and the Vale as well. So further education is very much an option for young people who may have finished the sixth form. However, they'd like to carry on in education and do some more learning. So what kind of learning takes place in colleges? You could do more A-levels. So you may not be happy with the A-levels you've got. You may be quite happy with the A-levels you got and think, well, I'd like another one to add to that, another string to my bow. So you'd like to do more other A-levels. You may like to go on to a BTEC course. For those of you who haven't taken part or participated in a BTEC course before, BTEC courses are predominantly assessed through coursework and practical assessments rather than exams like A-levels are. Some may have some examinations in them though. The level 3 courses that you may be looking at in further education, if you've already done A-levels, normally studied over 2 years, and they normally, rather than A-levels where you may have studied 3 A-levels in different courses, BTECs are normally studied in one subject linked to a vocation. We'll have a look at some of the examples of those in a second. And BTECs, rather than being A star through to sort of G in grades, they're actually graded from distinction star through to pass. And one thing about BTECs is that BTECs can actually be used for entry into university as well. They do carry their own UCAS points as well. So if we have a quick look here at some of the BTECs that are available, hopefully you can see this on your screens. They're available right from agriculture through animal management, applied science and law, art and design, some of the examples, engineering, equine management, forestry and arboriculture, music technology, sport and exercise science. So we can see here that these are qualifications which are very much aligned to vocations or jobs. So that's BTECs, and they normally studied, if you've done A-levels, normally studied probably at level 3, which is the same level as A-levels. So next on our journey around the circle here is time out. These aren't in any specific order of importance or what you should be doing after A-levels, and the actual fact that there we are, going back a page. The actual fact that time out has come as the last option doesn't change any of that. So if we were to have a little click on the time out circle here, this will take us through onto the Careers Wales website. So young people, they do take a gap sometimes at the end of their education for a variety of reasons. And there's a great video on here which talks to 4 young people. Let me get this page up for it to be shared. Okay, there's a great video on here which goes through the journey of 4 young people after their A-levels and talks about why they actually stepped out of education, stepped out of what they were going to do next to take a gap year, and actually goes through the reasoning why they did that. Some of the reasons could be you'd like to find out a bit more about an industry that you were interested in before you go on and study perhaps at higher education. So there may be a year in industry or a year in a job, maybe the thing that really helps you with your decision making. There may be some voluntary work you'd like to do. It's not all about working and earning money. It could well be the fact that you will go out and do some voluntary work. If we looked at paid employment can give us savings to go on to university. It maybe allow us to buy something large like a car that will really help us get back and forth and travel every day, etc. However, voluntary work will give us other things. Voluntary work would allow us to gain extra skills, qualities and experience, which will then help us for later on in life. So this taking a gap year could be very much about that. Another option could be traveling. Some young people feel that they've done their A-levels, they've worked very, very hard up until that point, and they're thinking, I'd like to take a year out now and do some traveling to gain some experience of the world. And again, this is going to give you other experiences, skills and qualities whilst traveling. And also there may be an opportunity to work along the way as well and earn some money. Normally enough money to get you by, to allow you to pay for your accommodation and food, etc. Because you know, at the end of the day, what you'd be looking at is traveling perhaps around one country or one continent to get a flavour of the different cultures around the world, or even just cultures around Britain. So if we were to look at this page, there's lots and lots of information on here. It does start with the line, after more than 10 years of school, homework, studying and exams, for some people it's time to take a break. Well, if that's you, then definitely a year out could be for you, and it could be the option. Lots and lots of information on this page about taking a break, a chance to see new places and cultures, some of the things we've spoken about, what you can do during your year out, working, studying, traveling, talks about paid work and voluntary work. It talks about some of the things you need to think about as well to travel, visas, health, etc. Okay, studying on your year out. And then at the bottom then, there's some really, really good contacts on this page. It talks about the conservation volunteers, Foreign and Commonwealth Office, volunteer work abroad organisations, and there's lots of web links through to these as well. Community service volunteers, and there's a couple of books on the bottom as well, a book called Your Gap Year and a book called the Gap Year Guidebook. So there's some real good links here on the Careers Wales website, and you'd find those under Home, Tools and Resources, and Job Information. So they're in this Tools and Resources tab here under Job Information. So if we get rid of that page and we go back, okay, so we've looked at very quickly at higher education. As I said, this webinar is about the alternatives to higher education, and at this point in time, you will have applied for higher education and be awaiting your A-level results. If that's where you're aiming at going. We've spoken very quickly about jobs. We've looked at some job websites. We've looked at talking to people, just keeping your eyes open and making sure that you find out what's coming up locally. We've spoken about apprenticeships, which are jobs with training linked to them, all advertised on the Careers Wales website, and they're with local companies and national companies. We've looked at the Jobs Growth Wales vacancies, specifically for 16 to 24-year-olds, which are all paid at the national minimum wage for at least 25 hours a week, and they are there for young people who perhaps haven't got the experience to get a job in the open marketplace. We've spoken about further education. So what we could be looking at is young people moving from school background, doing A-levels, perhaps into college, further education college, where they would study to gain a more vocational qualification through further learning. And the last one we spoke about there was time out and the different options there are about taking a gap year and perhaps working, doing some money, traveling, or doing some voluntary work to gain extra experience and skills along your journey. So we've looked at all of those options. But which option is best for you then? And how will you make the right decision? As a careers advisor, these are the things we talk to young people about all the time. So what will be best for me? How will I make the right decision? I think the person who knows best what is best for you is actually you. And how will you know to make the right decisions? Well, if we have a little look here, we've got some thoughts around how we would do that. So some of the things that we would do when we think about making decisions, sometimes we go on a gut feeling. Doesn't always work out to be right. However, some people think that something feels right, so they'll actually go on that. Gather some information and research. Some people feel that they need to find out everything they need to know about a job, a role, that sort of thing before they actually go into it. So they will just gather all the information they possibly can before they start to make decisions. Some people have a goal. So that goal may have developed over time. It may be something that they've been inspired by someone. They'll see something that they want to aim towards, and that'll be the goal that they be aiming at. The next one is gaining experience. We've spoken about gaining experience here through doing perhaps a year in industry. It may be doing a part-time job. It may be doing some voluntary work. Gain experience and find out, is that really the kind of thing that I'd like to do, by actually giving it a chance and doing it. So this will help you with your decision making. And then matching yourself to the opportunity, options, skills and qualities. We looked at one job there on the Jobs Growth Wales vacancies, which indicated that the person needed to be really, really organised and on top of everything to be able to do that job. If you are a very organised person and like that organised area of work, then that definitely could be something that you would like to do. So that's matching yourself to the opportunity, the skills and qualities required for that job. The next one is ask people. There's some very important people in your life that help you make decisions: parents, teachers, friends, even a careers advisor. So when it says ask people, sometimes sitting down with someone to think through your ideas, to find out more information about what you thought of doing, then that's a really, really good way to share that decision making with other people. And the last one on there is pros and cons. Sometimes it's just great to sit down and think, what if I do that? What will happen? Write a little list, draw a line down the middle of your page, put a plus sign on one side, a minus sign on the other side, and think, what are the good things that come from this? And what are the things that could perhaps not be so good? Write them all down, weigh them up against each other, and then that really, really will help you with your decision making. So this is a way that you can actually get around or get through the decision making time. It's not an easy thing to do, make decisions. However, if you apply some of these things to it, then obviously it could help make it a lot easier. And definitely speaking to people, and perhaps a careers advisor, parent, teacher, tutor, etc. in college, lecturer, that may well help with some of those decisions. Speak to someone who's already made the decision, already gone down that path, and find out what it was like, and find out what pitfalls they found, what experiences they learned from before you actually go into it yourself. So hopefully that answered some of those questions. What will be best for me? As I've said, you know what will be best for you, but how will you make the right decision? You make that right decision by thinking about all of these things and then moving forward, hopefully, into a decision that is going to be good for you. So how do you find out more about some of the options we've talked about today then? The first protocol that I would say would be for you to go to would be to Careers Wales. Oh, hang on, I've lost that page. There we are, there it is. Would be to go to careerswales.com. Okay, if I click on the link, it'll take us through onto the page. If you've been discussing your career ideas with your careers advisor in school, if you've logged on in school, you may well have seen the page already. Lots and lots of information on there. If you're unsure about what careers are, what certain careers do, what qualifications they need, we've got a fantastic career search here which will allow you to go on and search straight away. There's a profile there. We talked about the profile that you'd need to apply for Jobs Growth Wales vacancies and apprenticeship vacancies. That's on there. There are vacancies. There's a vast database of courses in Wales where we can find out about more training provision. And there's a job matching quiz. If you're unsure about what role it is that you think you would you really, really would like to do, then the job matching quiz could be a really great way to start that start those ideas off. Go on to the job matching quiz. It'll ask you lots and lots of questions. It'll take you through all of that, and then hopefully come up with some. You can see here we got the new job matching quiz for young people. Here would be ideal to go on and actually get you to a point where hopefully you can make a decision based around the answers that you've given, which is based around skills, qualities, qualifications, what you like, what you don't like, etc. So careerswales.com, a really great place to start with those, finding out more about those options. Questions? I think I've lost Julia. I think Julia's reception wasn't good enough, so I don't think there's going to be any questions coming through. That's it. to end the event because Julia, we lost Julia. Right? Yeah. Hang on. No, it's still on recording there.